That was Tony feels good. So yesterday started the first day of school, return to school for the children and the community of Uvalde. I was struck by a couple of things. I think that tragedy is horrible, and I think it says a lot about the things we are willing to do to make our society better, to right the wrongs that have been done in our society. They started the school year off with bulletproof glass, a gate that wasn't complete, and more officers. Now, it's interesting because the fact that they would think more officers is part of the solution belies what happened. On May 24th, there couldn't have been more good guys with guns. There were 400 of them. And yet, for 77 minutes, those men and women stood outside where those children were slaughtered. And now, the parents are faced with the fact they're going back to school with nothing significant happened. The only thing that has happened is the police chief is gone. Now, it would seem to me that whenever something like that happens, there's an opportunity for us to take an introspective look and decide what it is, what kind of society we want to live in. And apparently in Texas, they've decided that a half-finished gate and more police officers is all they can do. I think those parents deserve answers. I think that they deserve to hear all the information regarding what happened that day. I think they need to hear the 911 tapes. I think they need to be able to hold people accountable, not just the accountable where they get a tongue lashing, but where real substantive things happen, i.e. people going to jail and losing their careers. What did they get? A half-finished gate, and maybe some of the very police officers who failed those children that day. Isn't it horrible that those parents don't even know if some of the very people who are guarding them now failed them miserably on the 24th of May? Failed them. The governor of Texas says, well, you know, you can't stop an 18-year-old for having a gun. It's enshrined in the Constitution. It's constitutional. Wasn't abortion enshrined in the Constitution? Wasn't that a constitutional right? Didn't you wait and do what you wanted to do? Didn't you dismantle that when you wanted to? Aren't you one of the proponents of that? It is that you don't want to do anything. You think this is enough. And I just do not believe that the children of a different hue and a different socioeconomic stance that happened to, that the response will be the same. I don't believe it. A half-finished gate and more police officers, and you don't even know if some of the very people who are guarding your children now failed them then. It is activity without accomplishment and refusal to have those people have access to the information, access to the 911 calls and all the information surrounding that day is further traumatizing those people. Because you know how culpable you are. You know how feeble your stopgap measures are. You know that you will do nothing for those people except give them a half-finished gate and some of the very policemen who failed them that day. Not the information they need to make decisions, not accountability, not real people, real substantive change. A half-finished gate and some police officers, they don't even know if they failed them or not. And you call this an unspeakable tragedy. Whenever something like that happens, it always strikes me that people say it's unspeakable. When that negates the very thing you need to do is speak. You need to speak so you can do. So after all of this, all this suffering, the world watch, all the family, all that was lost, what they get is a half-finished gate and police officers, some of which may be the very ones who failed them that day. That is the definition of activity without accomplishment. This is Note from the GED section. We got the Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.